What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, in this video, I want to talk about the 2021 2022 NBA scoring race. All right. And this is one of the more interesting and potentially historic scoring races that we've seen in quite some time and maybe in history. Earlier this season, it was a very, very close race between two primary players, that being Steph Curry, the Golden State Warriors, and Kevin Durant of the Brooklyn Nets. But because of the fact that Steph Curry has been, for the most part, in a prolonged shooting slump for the better part of a month, his scoring average has dropped quite precipitously since its peak at about 29 points a game. And so the gap between him and Kevin Durant has widened. And since then, um, LeBron James, who had missed a lot of games in the first 25 uh, or so games of this season, has been on a scoring tear. I believe he's scored 30 or more points in the last seven games, including the season high 43 points in a blowout against I think it was the Houston Rockets, I believe it was. Was the Rockets or was the Thunder? It was one of those teams. But anyway, this is something that's interesting. I just like trivia, you know what I'm saying? Right now, I'm willing to say that the three main players who are more likely to lead the league in scoring, everything said and done, will either be Durant, LeBron, or Giannis. I anticipate Curry to slip down as more players come back, they get healthier. Clay's going to come back, Wiseman's going to come back. Um, you know, Last year they had an excuse to lean on Curry so much because he didn't have much help. But the players I just named, Wiseman, Clay coming back, um, Wiggins has had a great season. Jordan Poole has had a great season. You're not going to see Curry have as many 40 and 50-point performances as we did last year. So I anticipate Curry to drop down to. I wouldn't be surprised if he stays in the 26, 27 points per game range. Maybe even dropping as low as 25. I don't know. It depends. Um, but somewhere in that range, I don't think he's going to be in the leaders. Kevin Durant, when Kyrie Irving comes back, is probably going to have take a little bit of a hit, but he has such a lead over everyone else. At least from the last check, he can afford that a little bit. But it's LeBron. LeBron may actually lead the NBA in scoring, which would be a remarkable accomplishment in itself. But then there's another guy, Giannis. Giannis, just because of the simple nature that he's so efficient, Milwaukee leans on him a lot at times. He's so dominant, he can be unstoppable. Uh, he's their primary weapon. A lot of times, Middleton, Holiday have slumps within the game. They could be starting off hot and then have slumps, and then Giannis might be required to score 15 in a quarter, 16 and a quarter, those types of deals. So Giannis could end up being in the leaders as well. If I had to pick one guy, I would go with Durant. But this is what's so interesting about this year. If Kevin Durant leads the NBA in scoring, right, this would be his fifth scoring title, which would separate him from George Gervin, and it would separate him from Allen Iverson, who both had four scoring titles, and it would make him third all time in most scoring titles behind Michael Jordan's 10 and Wilt Chamberlain's 7. And if he was to lead the league in scoring, Kevin Durant, it would establish the biggest gap between scoring titles that we've seen. The last time he led the NBA in scoring was the 2013-14 season. Um, when he was with I think he won the MVP that year. He was with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I believe that year he averaged something around 32 points a game, right? So that would be an 8-year gap between scoring titles. Remarkable. But even more remarkable is if LeBron wins the scoring title, because he would replace Michael Jordan as the oldest player ever to lead the NBA in scoring. Jordan was 35 years old in 1997-98 when he led the NBA in scoring. LeBron James is, of course, 37 years old. And another thing, if he does lead the NBA in scoring, he would be it would be an even greater gap between the scoring titles, because people may forget this, but back in 2007, 2008, LeBron James, in his first stint with Cleveland, won the scoring title. As a matter of fact, that's the only year, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the only year he ever averaged over 30 points a game. I believe that's the only year he ever averaged 30 points a game. And he was 20, how old was he? 24? No, he was 23. He was 23 years old when he won that scoring title. So this would be a 14-year gap between scoring titles, an even greater record. And if Giannis Antetokounmpo was to somehow lead the NBA in scoring, he would be the first Milwaukee Bucks player to do so in 50 years. The last one being Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 1971-72 season when he averaged 34 point, I think it was 34.8 points per game, I believe it was for the Bucks that year. And he would be the first post player to lead the NBA in scoring since Shaq back in 2000. So just thought I'd bring that up in the video. Tell me what you guys think.